Shannon, if you can let us know what we need to know happened here, did Senator Cory Booker break rules to release these documents?
Well, that's exactly the question that I put to his staff, because I said to them, are you saying that these documents are still marked as committee classified or committee confidential, meaning they shouldn't be in the public sphere, or are you in some way claiming that these documents have actually been released? I have not gotten a straight answer from them. It would suggest the way that they've released these, that what's happened is they have put out these 4 documents, continuing to have this committee confidential label on them. You heard Senator Booker go back and forth with a number of folks on the panel today saying, I know what I'm doing is against policy. I'm willing to take the consequences. He did talk about this as being his, quote, I am Spartacus moment. Said he's willing to take the penalty and the punishment. Senator Cornyn, one of the most senior members, a Republican on this committee, said, I really want to ask you to reconsider what you're doing, flouting the rules that we have for these kinds of things. Senator Tillis, another Republican, said, are you now going to make it so that the Senate cannot be reliably trusted or be a trustworthy partner in handling sensitive documents? If we're going to say that you just throw them out, these rules about these documents or the policies about these documents anytime you so choose, then a number of the senators on the dais said, basically, that's what we're going to do. We don't feel bound by these rules or policies of the committee. They say we never voted on any of these rules or policies. I mean, they are set by the committee. But these people say never voted on them, not going to follow by them. Now, I can tell you one of the documents I'm looking at is one that came up last night between Senator Booker and the nominee Judge Kavanaugh about an email entitled Racial Profiling. I've got that in front of me. It was a discussion within the Bush administration about how they were going to work on security policies. Keep in mind, this is dated January 2002, so this is literally just weeks, a couple of months after the 9/11 attacks. There was a debate internally about exactly how they were going to handle policies or guidelines potentially from the government with regard to security. This is what Judge Kavanaugh said at the time to one of the other members. He said, the people who favor some use of race or national origin obviously don't need to grapple with these interim questions, but the people, and Judge Kavanaugh says, such as you and I, referring to himself, who generally favor effective security measures that are race neutral, we do need to grapple with these things now. So what he and another person were discussing is we want to try to find some way to make these security measures effective, but he said, I generally favor race neutral. Last night, Senator Booker kept pounding on that, saying, well, generally race neutral means that you may have been willing to consider something that was not race neutral. Keep in mind, this is in those heated weeks and months after 9/11, so it's clear that this administration would have really tough questions that they were contending with, but now these are public, and again, I wait to hear from the Booker staff, from the senator himself, about whether that committee confidential label has been lifted, but as far as I understand right now, it isn't. He's decided to release them anyway. He says he's willing to take the consequences.
So they were leaked by the New York Times. Cory Booker followed up, right, Shannon? That's the process we understand right now. And you wonder how many more emails could be leaked during this process. Can any of this stop this nomination?
You know what? It feels at this moment that the Democrats are really doing whatever they can to at least slow this process down. You know, they've been taking a lot of heat from progressive groups. There were 13 of them that signed on to a letter yesterday, really calling out the Senate Democrats, their leadership, the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, saying, we don't like this. You guys aren't doing enough to actually put the brakes on this thing. So again and again, since this hearing started, and well before that, but once it formally got started, the objection has been there are documents we don't have. For the documents you have given us, we don't have enough time. This has got to be delayed. Now today we're to the next level, which is we're just going to go ahead and release things that we think are pertinent to the American people. And why should we go through this process that is long and arduous? We don't have enough time. Let's slow everything down. And they've questioned this idea that the Bush administration, that President Bush 43 has the power to assert a privilege over these documents. They don't belong to Brett Kavanaugh. They don't belong to the Senate. Many of these documents really are within the purview of the former president. Senator Cornyn said this Senate can't just ignore presidential privilege because they don't like how it works.